strike. And someone said, well, you've got a funny voice, you don't look like you sound. Why don't you get into voiceover? And I knew nothing about it. Back then we made reel-to-reel demo tapes, and I took it to an agency, and they said...
And I was a young guy, and I got some great reviews on their tour and stuff, so they were going to give me the lead, and according to the script, I had a love scene with Bo Derek. And Mr. Spielberg stepped in and said, you're not going to make this movie or I'm walking, so I was crushed, my Hollywood tragedy story, and got more into voiceovers and started doing little animation stuff like that, and got involved with Invader Zim.
As the dorky little kid, I still pretty much am, who did impressions in elementary school. So like, you know, for the talent contest, you know, one kid would be lip syncing to Freebird. And I mean, it takes a lot of skill to, you know, to actually lip sync well, but I was kind of insulted by losing, you know. It's like, come on, I'm 9, I'm doing Jimmy Stewart and Jimmy Carter and Walter Matthau. This is skill. Darn awesome, I couldn't have done it. So yes, I was almost as thrilled as he was when he got the movie. Woo! Let's just hope they do a whole bunch of sequels and I get my shot. So anyway, it was great to get on the internet and look at the posts that basically said, oh no, Optimus Prime is going to be played by that freak Hawkman. And we'll say the word they use rhymed with bag.
Applause for my butt. Richie! Alright, you nuts. Hey, you know, for years on my website I was saying I wanted to come to Australia. And I finally made it. You know, I said I was going to get there one way or the other, and they brought me in for Armageddon. So we're here all weekend. We're going to have such a good time talking to everybody. And, you know, I know that there's like website people from I felt disenfranchised. I had one friend probably that, you know, you find the other town nut, and you hang with him. You know, and he's got comic books. Yeah, he's got comic books. If you say something that you talk to so many people, I'd say something to people and they say, I never heard of that, I never heard of that. And it was like I began to think I dreamt of it like a fever dream or something. You know, when I was sick, because no one's ever heard of it. And then you meet the one guy, oh yeah. You know, it's like, brother. And that's...
Every single Christmas I get some sort of car you could drive, and I would spend the entire year trying to make it the Mach 5. I would have a big 5 painted on it, like my dad could not make it jump. My dad could not make homing pigeons. My dad could not make saw blades. So yes, I call my dad Pops. And I did steal a monkey from the zoo in college. And I had a lot of candy and pretended I was Spritle. But very good question. I'm asked that quite often. I'm asked quite often how much is improv and how much is, you know, can I get away with? People like Tim Schafer and Jonan Vasquez and Mitch Schauer and Maxwell Burton, we established an immediate personal rapport with each other, so we trust each other that we're going to stay within the confines of the character. And The Angry Beavers was particularly fun because that was, if you notice, we over-improved because Mitch trusted us and it was fun for them to animate that. One episode, I don't know if anyone ever saw, was this chocolate bar episode where Norbert's eating all the chocolate and he weighs like 7,000 pounds in the end. The entire ending was written, but because I'm kind of nuts in my own head and I get hooked on different voices, for a while I was hooked on Bob Hope, which Billy and I do a Bob Hope rip, and so every now and then, wow, you know, stuff like that. Well, one ending in that chocolate bar, I was obsessed with Glengarry Glen Ross. And in my head, I sounded exactly like Jack Lemmon. But out here, it sounded nothing like Jack Lemmon. But at the very end, I come in, and the whole ending, we just improvise this thing where I go, put my name up on that board, Norbert. Put my name. And we did the entire ending of Glengarry Glen Ross. And it made it into a different than the character I had envisioned in my head, but it was a great relationship. And then in Billy and Mandy, forget about it. I get to go whatever I want. That was a good one.
I bore witness to that.
Yeah,
I was like an incidental character, and I knew Richie. I hadn't worked with you outright. I think we first met on, maybe, wasn't there an earlier one?
We did something earlier.
But God, you know, I mean, I am very, very blessed that I can walk into a room full of geniuses every day of the week, and the bar